Standing in front of the glass case, Mike looked at every gun. The glass case was 4 cabinets pushed together and to end well lit with at least 100 handguns inside. At the far left end were 22 seconds target pistols, 6-round revolvers, and clip-fed guns. One had a barrel less than 2 in long, and one had a barrel a foot long. Mike thought about the damage that tiny piece of lead could do. He moved to his right. All in a row, 1 chrome, 1 stainless steel, and 1 blued. All 3 small enough to be carried in a pocket. All 3 used a clip and held 5 rounds. His evaluation was that the 25 couldn't do the damage he wanted unless it was very close to the target. He stepped to his right. He looked at the 32 seconds and then the 38 seconds. At the 38 seconds, he thought he was finally at some guns that could do what he wanted. He remembered that police used to carry 38 seconds. They must be good at killing if that was the intent. Displayed next were 15 different 9mm pistols ranging from revolvers to clip-fed and even single-shot models. They were larger than the 38 seconds and more challenging to conceal. On a lower shelf were holsters, including brown leather waist holsters in both brown and black shoulder holsters. The stopping power of these weapons was evident in their size and shape, with some boasting chrome finishes, while most were blue and 2 were flat black. It had been years since Mike last fired a gun during his time in the Air Force stationed in Germany. Over the past month, he had spent some time reacquainting himself with firearms by reading and studying them. As he paused, his gaze fell upon the Dirty Harry-style long-barreled 444 Magnum, a .357 Magnum, and an Old West-style 40 caliber 6 gun. These were intended for show and intimidation rather than practical use. Mike knew he wanted a 9mm. 10 minutes later, he was back in the Lexus. The gun would be able to be picked up on Friday. He had paid with a credit card. It had the same name on it as the driver's license he had shown. They had cost him $200 from a man in East LA. The 9mm was $850. But he would never get the bill. The guy whose name and address were on the license would get the bill. After the rented Lexus took him to a Hilton downtown, he registered and used a different credit card and name. He asked for and got room 921. He was more interested in the people with reservations in room 821 and the other Hilton in town the next day. As he approached the door to 921, he pulled on some latex gloves. Inside the room, he was careful not to leave any fingerprints. He knew from watching CSI on television that he would leave epithelial skin cells in the room. He also knew his DNA was on them. He believed it didn't matter. He rested for a while in the room and then went downstairs for dinner. He had a 4-day growth of beard and 2 rubber devices tucked into his cheeks to help modify how his face looked. His hair was a little longer than his usual businessman's haircut, and it was much grayer. At dinner, he watched most of a basketball game he didn't care about and then went to a house phone and called room 821. No one answered. He went back to his room and set up his test. A vacuum and a drill came out of his suitcase and he drilled a hole through the floor in his room and through the ceiling in the room below, room 821. The hole was small, 9mm to be exact. He had positioned the hole based on the floor plan of the room he was in, and believing the room below would be the same. When he looked through the hole with the tiny video camera, he saw that the room was exactly as he figured. The hole was right where he wanted it to be, 12 in back from the edge of the sink in the bathroom. Anyone standing at the sink would be right under the hole. The minuscule amount of dust that fell when he drilled the hole landed on the rug. And if his timing was good, would be thrown away by the room cleaning woman hours before the room was used again. He shut off the light in the bathroom and left the camera on. On the monitor, he could watch the bathroom below and he would not be seen. He had a motion sensor on the monitor. And when someone downstairs entered the bathroom, a red light flashed in the bathroom above. Mike went quietly into his bathroom and watched. The man standing at the sink shaved and brushed his teeth. A woman came in and kissed the man. Both were naked. They were in front of the sink for 3.5 minutes. Plenty of time, Mike thought. He shut off the camera and went to bed. In the bed, he thought about his brother and Monica. 3 years prior, they crossed paths in Orlando at a convention. Monica attended as a product representative for a company specializing in software. It was through Shane, Mike's brother, that they initially met. By the end of the conference, Monica found herself working for Shane rather than the software company. A year later, they tied the knot. Over the subsequent 2 years, Monica underwent several physical enhancements, including breast augmentation and facial procedures. She frequently accompanied Shane in public events, especially when deemed beneficial for business by PR personnel. Reflecting on events from 2 weekends prior, Mike recalled being at the Leda Inn in Orange County for a business meeting. While waiting in the lobby, he noticed Monica entering the hotel. Moments later, Paul, Shane's business partner, arrived, and Monica linked arms with him, accompanying him to the front desk to check in. Mike watched as they went to the elevators and went up to the 6th floor. During the business appointment, Mike was given access to the reservations computer system, which had 2 minor problems. While he fixed them, he looked at the reservations for rooms on the 6th floor. Paul Samuels didn't have a room there, but Monica Samuels did. He did a search and found that Monica Samuels had been in the hotel 4 times in 2 months. Jack Samuels had been there twice. Monica and Shane's partner were having an affair. Over the next 10 days, he had found they were meeting in various hotels 2 or 3 times a week. Computers are wonderful when you know how to use them. Mike wondered if he should tell Shane. He had dinner with Shane and touched the subject lightly. There had been a news story about a rich guy whose wife was sleeping around. When the guy found out, he divorced her, but lost millions in the settlement. Shane said he wouldn't want a divorce from a like that. He'd want her dead. Mike didn't tell Shane what he knew. He finally fell asleep, slept well, and was up before 9. The next day, he packed and covered his activities before he left the hotel for the day. He spread a small packet of powder in the room. Skin cells from at least 20 different people. He dropped 10 sets of small hairs in the room as well. Amazing the things one can gather from discarded vacuum bags from a medical building or 3. When Mike was in the elevator, he took the gloves off and pocketed them. He returned to Lexus later that day at the airport. He slept part of that night in Terminal 1, Southwest, and the rest of the night in Terminal 7, United. He changed clothes and bathrooms in both terminals. On Friday, he rented a car and went back to the gun shop and picked up the 9mm purchased with the credit card of Jack Williams of Canoga Park. The gun shop was 80 miles from the Hilton. He checked into the Hilton, room 921, early. He knew the rooms on the 8th floor were clean during the 1:00 hour every day. The crew doing the 9th floor was done at noon. He checked in and as soon as he was in the room drilled the hole just like the test hole he had done the day before. An hour later, he watched the maid collect the rugs and wash down all the surfaces where dust might have landed. He smiled. He positioned himself in the hotel lobby where he could see the registration desk and not easily be seen. He was behind some plants and using a video camera in the plant pot hooked to his laptop to monitor the desk. He also had a spreadsheet on the computer in case someone looked. At 5:10, he watched as his brother's business partner and his brother's wife checked in. She was holding his arm like she was his trophy wife. Together, they had one small suitcase. After they got into the elevator, Mike packed up the laptop and went to his room. He called his brother's office. Naturally, he answered. Shane Mitchell. Hi, Shane. Hey, what's going out of town for a while? I have a chance to do some consulting in Chicago for a week, and I'm leaving in about half an hour. I'll call you when I get settled. How are things with you? Not so hot. I don't have any proof, but I think Monica is cheating. Any idea with who? Not a clue. It's just a suspicion right now. Where is she? Some charity thing down in Orange County. And what will you be doing tonight? I've got an all-nighter here with my tax people. We'll have dinner delivered and work all night.